we've got a special guest here, Mr. Charlie Bales. So, Charlie, if you can unmute yourself, I think you might still be muted. So, or no, you're not muted anymore. Go ahead.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you very much for doing this. I think it'll be an interesting conversation. And so one of the things, I guess to say, I guess collagen would be your thing, I suppose, is what we're going to find out about that. So if you don't mind, just can you give us a little quick kind of background history on who you are and maybe how you got to where you are today, and then we can kind of delve into the nitty gritty of the topics, if you don't mind. I'm going to change the view too. Hang on just a sec. Speaker view. There we go.
Yeah, I'd love to. This is really cool. Thanks for having me, and look forward to talking to this group and getting some feedback and getting some pretty cool conversation going. So a little bit about me. I'm a husband. I'm a dad, and that's why I started this business. I have a day job as well. And I actually really like that. I'm involved in human resources for a big company here in Florida, and also with some internal logistics and distribution. So I have a supply chain background, and I really enjoy doing that. But my side hustle, passion project, as a millennial is supposed to call it, is CB Supplements, which is a multi-collagen company. That's all we sell. It's the only product. We've got a couple of flavors and unflavored, and it's a thrill. We've been in business for about 3 years now, and the business started because of my kids. Really, I've got 3 kids. They're 8, 6, and 2. We'll call it. They're all summer birthdays, so we're coming up to that. And my oldest, Vivian, she's the only girl. She's got 2 younger brothers. So, dad and daughter, especially when she's the only one, she might be my favorite. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but I just said it. She's the reason why CB Supplements is here. She was a normal baby, born fine. Everything was good. She just got sick a lot when she was 1, 2, and we were in and out of the doctor's office. We went to the hospital a couple of times for respiratory issues. She had 106 fever. And I don't think you've really lived life unless you've driven your kid to the hospital, hoping that she's breathing. I don't wish that upon anybody, and I've done that once. It's awful. And so I got tired of listening to the doctors and being told, take this steroid, take this pill, do this and that. And I just dove into the literature. I've read probably 50 books, Shawn, yours being one of them. So it's kind of surreal that I'm talking to you. That this is awesome. And I've also listened to probably 1,000 podcasts, probably 2,000 now, and read a couple thousand research papers. I'm one of those junkies for the New England Journal of Medicine and all those sources, and just decided to make the lifestyle changes. And now Vivian is a 7.5-year-old kid that hasn't been sick in 3 years. And we all had COVID, and it did nothing to us. It did nothing to Vivian. So I don't know if that would have been the case had we just stayed in the standard American way. And I ended up founding the company because I think that collagen, it's a piece of that pie. I'll call it the pie of health. Collagen's not silver bullet. It's not, the end all be all. I'm not trying to sell that at all. And I think that someone who's 90% carnivore, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I don't even know if you need collagen when you're eating that much meat. But for us and for Vivian, it's just been awesome. Her 2 little brothers are specimens and very healthy. Shawn, I listened to the podcast with Ken, Dr. Ken, and he was talking about his 18-month-old that has, eaten meat since day one. That's kind of how my 2 boys are. They're meat and milk, and they're both statues now. So it's maybe there's something to that, but that's probably a long, drawn out introduction. But that's who I am. I'm a husband and a dad, and that's why I'm here trying to change the world. So I'm one of those crazy millennials that wants to make an impact.
Well, I mean, and first of all, hats off to you for trying to make a difference. I think it's important that we all do that, or, the one, or at least some of us do that. There's you made the point, and I wonder because, if I look at, meat in general, even a steak, about 3% by volume is collagen, and if you're eating a lot of steak, you're getting, probably a decent amount of collagen. And then if you start eating the gristle and stuff like that, you probably get a little more. But there is, there's no RDA for collagen. I mean, you look on a nutrition level, there's no like, certain percentage of collagen. We probably don't know what the required amounts are. I mean, it's all speculative. I mean, there's a little bit of research which would kind of suggest that there's some evidence that's beneficial, but not even anecdotally, in the scientific literature, I'll point out collagen is an animal product. I mean, there's no trees that are growing collagen. I mean, you don't get it in plant material. And we see that at least this year, in fact, in the last 6 months, two studies have come out in dermatology journals looking at wound healing, both in post-surgical wounds and then healing after tattoo removal in plant-based versus people that include meat in the diet. And not surprisingly to me, much worse outcomes in those that pursue the plant-based or vegan outcome. And perhaps maybe collagen has a role in there. We know that, some of the collagen precursors, particularly hydroxylysine, hydroxyproline, which typically require a conversion reaction in the body. We have to hydroxylate the proline and the lysine, and vitamin C aids in that. But we see that there's actually independent gut transporters that will actually directly uptake hydroxylysine, hydroxyproline, these collagen precursors, which I'd looked into this several years ago because I was making the claims that, vitamin C, one of the roles of vitamin C may be less necessary if you're directly consuming a lot of collagen or collagen precursors. The standard American diet, I don't even know how much collagen's in it. I would say probably very little. I would say maybe not zero, but very little. Very little. And I think this is a thing we run into. We talk about B12 deficiency, and a lot of the vegans rightly point out that many people in the American diet are low in B12. And I think the problem with that is they just don't eat enough meat, because I can look around, and I know in this community, when people test their B12, it's usually high normal or even above the normal threshold. So I'm just wondering about collagen. And so why collagen, of all things? What made you decide, hey, collagen is where I want to plant my flagpole? Why not? Could have been something else. But why collagen?
Yeah, and it has to do with those amazing amino acids that you were talking about, the hydroxyproline, hydroxylysine. So it's and actually somebody who's on our team, you probably know her, is Dr. Kate Shanahan. She's a New York Times bestseller, Fat Burn Fix, and wrote Deep Nutrition. She's on our team at CV Supplements, which is pretty cool. So we have a lot of the scientific backing because of her. So our view is that the difference between collagen and a muscle meat, call it, is that they spawn different reactions from the body. The body, once you eat the muscle, is going to go, oh, sweet, we'll go fix and repair muscle as we see this, because that's what happens. But when you consume collagen, that's those different peptide chains that are only unique to your point, animals. There's no such thing as broccoli collagen. And I have to answer that question almost daily, it feels like. But anyway, when your body sees those peptide chains, glycine, leucine, hydroxyproline, hydroxylysine, it goes, oh, sweet. I'm going to go stimulate, fix connective tissue as opposed to just muscle and structure. So most Americans are not getting that at all. And my daughter, Vivian, she wasn't, a 2-year-old doesn't get any collagen. I mean, I should say most 2-year-olds. So when we started putting more of an emphasis on meat and real food, but primarily just getting meat in the diet, as opposed to all of the other plant-based sources of calories, her health completely transformed. And my thinking of that, because I don't want to sound so matter of fact, like this is what happened. That's dangerous in today's world. But my thinking of that is that what's our digestive system made of? It's made of collagen and connective tissue. The little stems, I'll call it, that line the inside of our small intestine. They're called villi or villi, however you want to pronounce it. They are made of collagen. So we were able to repair her gut through this supplementation, because I was buying Josh Axe's brand, Ancient Nutrition, at the time, and still think the world of that company. But just, we have our own now, so I don't have to pay for it anymore. That's one itch. But we were supplementing that with Vivian. She was having more meat, and then we saw her health completely turn around. And just me being the entrepreneurial kind of guy that I am, I saw the business opportunity that I'm spending $100 a month on this supplement for my family. I feel like I could do it better and create a better product. So that naive, optimism, I'll just go do it. And here we are in year 3, because we've kind of done it. So that's really why, because I didn't want to go into ranching and sell cows. I didn't want to do other things. It's just of the, diet for health, I'll call it. I think that collagen is a missing food group. But really, we shouldn't even refer to it as protein. We should have protein as a macronutrient. And then the 4th macronutrient is collagen. Because again, you said there is no real recommended daily dose of collagen. And we tell people, try to get to 20 or 30 grams. And then after that, just don't worry about it. But we're not basing that off of any science, because there is none. And I've taken 200 grams of collagen in a day and been totally fine. You feel great the next day. So I don't know what the perfect dose is. I don't think there is. I think that the body just sees collagen, it sees those peptides, and it goes, awesome, we're going to go fix stuff. So that's why I think it's a missing food group. And I think our team agrees with that.
Yeah, there's another person that I'm sure you're familiar with, Mark Sisson, and I've sat down with Mark and we had a discussion about collagen, and he was very passionate about that as well. And I think he has a line of collagen supplements as well, but that's something he's a big believer in. And clearly it's been part of the human diet. At least in what I would consider a traditional human diet, not today's modern diet where we basically eat a synthetic diet. And so it's part of that. Is there a way to assess, because I haven't looked this up, collagen sort of status in the human body? Obviously you can just look at the human structure and say, maybe people that have poor collagen, and there's all kinds of connective tissue disorders, which collagen is part of that, where people fall apart, basically their joints fall apart. But is there any kind of reliable way, lab testing that you've been made aware of, that you could say, hey, your collagen sufficiency is adequate based on some kind of blood test? Because I don't know if there's an answer for that.
That, not to my knowledge. That would be something I would ask Dr. Kate if she knew anything on that side of it, because I'm not aware of any type of testing, but I am aware of just the physical testing. So what a lot of these guys that are going to the NFL Combine, they're being tested on their skills, and usually the ones with the most flexibility and strength in their joints, which are going to tell you about the collagen that they have, are performing at a higher level. So I'm sure that's not quite the answer you were looking for, but I think that with collagen, all you gotta do is just look at someone and just put them through a couple of physical tests, and you'll see how their body reacts. And if they have strong, enduring joints, that says a lot about their collagen. But also, I think that the one under the covers that we just don't really talk about a lot as a culture is the digestive system. That's probably the biggest feedback we get from people that buy our product, is they say, I'm going to the bathroom normally now. I haven't done that in years. And I shake my head out of just baffling confusion that, how do we not think this is normal? So I'd ask a couple of questions of people pertaining to physical abilities and their digestive system. And I think that would give you some insight into the state of their collagen all over their body.
Yeah, at the end of the day, what we care about is how we function and how we perform, and how our body holds up to certain demands. Hard to say, like I said, unequivocally it was because of this particular thing, because there's so many variables that go into that. Traditionally, collagen, we think about collagen-rich foods, we think about gelatins, we think about You know, I mean, that's probably the classic one. And then of course there's all the sort of the gristle within meat and stuff like that. And that's how people have it. And one of the concerns around supplements is that, you know, it's great that you're getting a compound, but then you're missing out on some other things. And this is, you know, there's been some studies recently looking at like whole eggs versus egg whites and whole milk versus skim milk. And in every case, the whole food performed better when it came to a certain metric. And I think they were using muscle protein synthesis, which isn't the ultimate, you know, it's not the only thing we're concerned about. But your point about the gut, I think, is an important point. You know, with the gut turnover, we have, you know, because there's studies on protein absorption, and they're talking about muscle protein synthesis, and they say, well, you can only utilize about 30 grams at a pop for muscle protein synthesis. And again, that's in the context of whey protein and not a whole food. So we don't really know what the whole food does, I suspect, you know, because I mean, I eat well above 30 grams of protein in a meal, and I'm not like, you know, shriveling away due to lack of protein absorption. But with the collagen, do you find any difference in the absorption characteristics or the efficacy? Is it something you recommend people eat as an isolated thing, or do they include it as part of a meal, or how does that work?
So here's why we're, I'll say, the authentic company, not just trying to sell you something. I'm going to tell everybody, don't buy our product. Go get collagen from real food. Go eat bone-in ribeyes. Go eat the entire chicken. Go eat oxtail and drink bone broth every day. And then you do not need our product. So because I agree with you and probably everybody in the community that whole foods do better than a supplement. Because even though our supplement, we're using chicken bone broth and beef bone broth as ingredients. We're not just using bovine cow skin, which is what 90% of the supplements out there are. And there are people are wondering why those don't work as well as ours. It's because we're actually using real ingredients that have more than just collagen. They have the cartilage and the proteoglycans and the glycosaminoglycans and glucosamines and all that. That's in our product. However, I am of the opinion that once you process something a couple of times, of course it's going to lose efficacy. And we're not going to hide behind that wall that, no, our supplement's amazing. It doesn't do that. Of course it does. We've had it tested. We know this. And when I say we have it tested, we have our product purity tested even after it's bottled, because we want to be the authentic company. So I mean, just to answer your question, I'm in agreement that a whole food does better. And then I would want to know, let's compare supplement to supplement, and I'll bet you ours will perform better because it's less processed than most, and it's coming from real ingredients, including skin, bones, everything, not just a cow skin. You know, we're using eggshells. Who'd have thought it? So yeah.
You said you're using eggshells. Is there collagen in an eggshell? I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
In the membrane. So you know when you're
okay, yeah,
when,
sure,
when
the
you're
inside,
cracking
yeah.
an egg, that gooey substance right there, that's what we're extracting. You know, we're taking almost the product of the meat industry that most of these producers don't even want. And we're creating a life-giving supplement out of it. But again, I'm always going to tell people, use food first.
What is the, you know, I mean, I mean, the problem is, well, not the problem. Most people in the United States or in the world are not eating an animal-rich diet, and certainly not a carnivore diet. So we have a lot of people that, you know, basically relying on, you know, largely a synthetic, you know, industrialized processed food diet. What is the amount of collagen that you guys recommend? And then what sort of, I mean, you know, obviously, you know, when you make claims about something, the regulations allow you to say certain things you can't, some things you can prove, some things you can't. But what's the general sort of amount, time that it takes to improve? What kind of things are you seeing success with, and so on and so forth?
Yeah. So we recommend a serving, which is about 7 grams of collagen in one of our scoops. We recommend one serving per 50 pounds of body weight. And how we came up with that was Dr. Kate and I just looked at every piece of literature that we could find out there. And that's the best that we could do, because you can't really prove anything. There's been little to no studies on collagen outside of some skin studies, which we're referencing every one of those on our website, because we're looking to educate people, not just sell a product. And I think our website speaks for that big time. So that's what we recommend. This one serving, 7 grams per 50 pounds. And we're seeing success. It might take 3 days. It might take 3 months. We've got 200 verified reviews on our website. And if you read those, your eyeballs want to come out of your head, because of some of the stories on there that you hear from people that they were about to have double knee replacement surgery. And then after taking our product for 3 weeks, they canceled the surgery because they walk every day now. My dad is an example. He was going to have back surgery to shave a bulging disc out. And when they opened up his back, it was all gone. I wonder why. But I'm not allowed to say stuff like that. So, but also we get our product tested and certified by the National Sanitation Foundation, NSF. So they even audit everything that we say on our website, and we can't say a lot of those non-FDA approved things. And we're fine with that, because we don't even want to say it. We're going to let the people who take our product say it. And then people can make their own decision on whether or not they would like to take our product and try it out for themselves, because the benefits are all over the place. Do you want stronger nails, stronger hair? Do you want a healthy gut? Do you want to be able to be a world champion rower in your 50s? Collagen is going to help you with all of those things. And depending on the individual, it's going to take, I was diagnosed lactose intolerant when I was 10. I lived 20 years of my life without dairy fat. And that couldn't be more wrong. And when I was 30, I finally decided to take it into my own hands when I started this company. And I cured that in 3 days with collagen and bone broth. So I have heard success stories in the week time frame. I've heard it takes 3 months. I've also heard people call me, because I put my cell phone on our website, 'cause I just want to talk to people. I've had people call me and just say, yeah, I used your product for 3 months. I didn't see anything, so I stopped. And then 2 weeks after stopping, I started waking up in the morning and just not feeling as good, and my body just being more achy. So I got back on your product, and what do I know? I just feel good. So a lot of people don't even notice that they just feel better until they stop taking it. And sorry, I know that was a long answer to your simple question, but hopefully it did. I did it some justice.
No, thanks for that. Let me ask you, I want to go back to the gut, because I've certainly heard anecdotally people talk about things like bone broth and as being healing for the gut. Some people talk about dairy and some of these other things, and it's all hard to say for sure, and it's different people seem to have different results with that. But let's talk a little bit more about the gut in detail, because our gut is turning over at an extremely high rate, and this is something that, when I alluded to, the 30 grams of protein for muscle protein synthesis, much of that protein that we're ingesting is supporting gut turnover. Because when we think about, and it's kind of interesting to think, well, maybe some people don't like to talk about it, but when we have a bowel movement, much of the bowel movement is actually gut cells that are coming out that we've sloughed off. And, when you're on a high fiber diet, it's more fiber, but like people on a carnivore diet, much of your waste material is going to be dead bacteria and dead, epithelial cells from the gut. How does collagen interplay with the gut? How much of the gut is collagen dependent, I guess?
It's a really, really good question, and hard to answer with exacts. But I will say that when you're looking at somebody, you're looking at air, water, and collagen, because most of our body is the most dominant and abundant protein in the body, specifically types 1, 2, and 3. So your gut is made of collagen that's holding it together through the connective tissues and all the other magic things like that. So as and your body is really darn good at making its own collagen from its internal processes and from the diets that we consume. But once you start aging a little bit, you get to be about 25, maybe 30, that manufacturing or that self-manufacturing rather it's not as good. You lose about 1% of your collagen cells per year, or not collagen cells, just your total collagen makeup. You lose about 1% per year. And then once you get into your 50s and 60s, it could turn as drastically to be 10% a year. So I couldn't tell you if the gut specifically is made up of 72% collagen or what, but I don't care if it's 72% or 100% or 4%. It's pretty intuitive thinking to realize that if you're losing 1% a year and the gut has some makeup of collagen, that's a recipe for a bad event to happen at some point. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, I'll just refer to a couple comments here. One of the things, we talk about, well, certainly bone being a significant percent of bone is collagen. As an orthopedic surgeon, I dealt with a lot of bones, and bone, somewhere between 40, maybe a little bit higher percentage of our bone is actually type 1 collagen. And then we have it's a scaffolding, and then we have this matrix of, minerals, primarily calcium and phosphate laid out. But we see people, like there's a test that we call it a skin pinch test, where you squeeze the skin on the back of your wrist, and it's supposed to immediately, return to normal in younger, healthy people. And people that get older will lose that, and the skin will stay up there, stay tented for a long period of time. And that's an assessment of the skin protein, the elastins, the collagens that are in the skin. And if it doesn't snap back, then you probably are seeing a deficiency in collagen. And I don't know if that's purely just chronological age or is it accumulation of disease. I suspect many of the stuff we consider to be aging issues are disease, and nutrition plays a role in that. Somebody's asking me about the difference between gelatin-based collagens and I guess powder-based collagens. Is there a big difference in that? I think you're muted now. I think you've gotten muted somehow. Or I don't know if you heard me. Yeah, you're muted right now for some reason. You might have to unmute yourself. Not sure how you got muted. It's like we've lost your audio. So I guess hopefully he'll come back here. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me try again. See if you can unmute.
There we go. Am I back?
Yeah. I'm not sure how you got muted, but anyway, you're back. So did you hear the gist of the question? I think I commented a little bit about bone and, skin. And then somebody was asking about gelatin versus powder-based collagens.
Yes. So a gelatinous collagen is always going to be better than a powdered one. So when you're making bone broth at your house, and then you put it in the refrigerator, and in the next couple of hours it turns into a jello, that's fantastic. That's why bone broth is just a better product than a supplement, because it has all of the magic stuff, we'll call it, that help with the joint healing and the gut healing and everything. Our product has a little bit of that, which is why collagen, especially a multi-collagen like ours that uses bone broth as an ingredient, when you put it into like a hot cup of coffee or something, it might clump up. It might turn into this gelatinous material, because that's what our powder came from for a couple of the ingredients. Or most products on the market, again, they're just taking cow skin, grinding it up, and then there you go. That's what you're getting. So a gelatinous material is going to be cleaner, at least in my opinion, than a straight powder. And if a product is advertising that it is a gelatin protein, but it's a powder, that's just telling you that they made their product out of a gelatin, as opposed to, the bone or the bone broth or whatever. And we do that with a couple of our ingredients. We just don't really advertise it like some of these other companies, because again, most companies are single source. They're using just cow as their source. That's the majority of the market. There's a couple of marine and a couple chickens where we're taking all that together and putting it into one.
Let me add, this maybe seem like a strange question, and I almost laughed that I'm asking it, but um, there may be one or two vegans that watches this. It's for some bizarre reason I get vegans that will follow me and watch me and listen to my stuff. Maybe some of them are on the fence and can't figure it out. But this product clearly is not going to be a vegan product, I would assume. Is there anything on the market for vegans? Is there some sort of synthetic compound that can you make hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine, some of these other collagen proteins out of synthetic stuff, so it's non-animal derived? Does that even exist?
So it's I'm laughing because I address the question almost daily that there is no such thing as vegan collagen. However, there is such thing as science. And yes, it is being worked on right now that they're trying to create these hydroxyproline and hydroxylysines. Really just that why collagen is magical is because of this specific peptide chain of proline, leucine, glycine being together that you don't find anywhere else in nature. And then the same thing with the hydroxyproline and the hydroxylysine. That's not found anywhere else. So they're trying to mimic that from, of course, you probably guess it, soybeans, because that's what half the world is planted with. So I'm sure at some point we're going to have a vegan collagen sludge that's created from soybeans to mimic what a collagen from an animal is. And that wouldn't surprise me because that's just kind of what we do now. So yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm just limited to shift gears a little because you mentioned earlier that your diet tends to lean kind of meat based. What is your diet these days, and what sort of advantages did you see from that, or if any?
Yes, I would love to discuss that. I'm probably about 90%, if not 95% animal based, I'll say. Because I'm including milk and butter and eggs in that percentage. We do a lot of dairy in our house, but of that 90%, I'll bet you 65 or 70 is red meat. So I'm a huge ribeye filet guy. I love cows, and I love cows that were treated in the great way, and we get great meat from them. So we're certainly a meat heavy house. And then that other 10% is probably more on the keto side of things. It's higher fat, it's veggies. We try to follow Vinny Tortovich as best we can too, with the no sugar, no grain in that remaining 10%. And where have I seen advantages of that? Because I was not, obviously a 90% carnivore, I'll call it, the majority of my life. But I mean, I was a college football and baseball player, and I ripped my hip and my shoulder and my biceps in half playing, where I wouldn't be able to talk on the phone with my right arm from the time I was 20 to 30. For that, I would always talk on my left phone with my left arm, where now, after doing a meat-based diet, and I have a collagen company, so I am blowing away the recommended daily value, whatever that is, of collagen. I can talk on the phone, right? I can hold the phone to my right arm. My bicep that I ripped in half is totally fine. My psoas in my right hip was the bane of my existence when I was back in my playing days, where now it doesn't bother me. So I think that my body has just naturally healed itself through this meat-based diet, collagen supplementation, and just getting the crap out of the diet that we eat as Americans.
Yeah, that's certainly a problem there. And I guess you said you're in Florida, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like I said, I almost hesitate to this, but I think it's important to talk about this. We really have a sick society. I mean, we have a society of metabolically wrecked people. It's, I think, affecting the physical health, our resilience, our immune systems, our mental health, and it's not getting better. And I guess the powers that be are determined to continue down that path and even double down on that. And so, let me ask you, just I want to make sure people are aware of your product. So it's called CB supplements, and can you describe it a little bit more? I mean, it's different. It's a collagen protein supplement. powder based? You know, how do people always use it? Is it a liquid? You just drink it, or you mix it into foods, or how are most people utilizing that?
Yeah, the name of the company is CB Supplements. That stands for my name because I'm not a marketing guy, and I should have called a marketing guy or gal to give me a better name when I started the company. But it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was on Google and seeing what's available. CB Supplements, buy it, let's go. I'm one of those ready, fire, aim kind of guys. So that's why we have a very fun name. But anyway, so yeah, just check out our website, cbsupplements.com. And why is our product different? Because we're a multi-sourced collagen. So again, most products are just bovine. And what that means is cow skin, where we're using beef bone broth. We're using not just fish skin, we're using fish bones. We're using eggshells, which is a super hard ingredient to work with. But we're doing it because it's the right thing to do and because we want a complete product. And then we're using chicken bone broth. And Dr. Kate helped craft that range of ingredients for our custom complex, because we look at our product as a collagen complex, not so much collagen protein, since we do have ingredients that have the glycosaminoglycans and proteoglycans and just joint lubing material, glucosamines, all that stuff. So that's what differentiates us from the rest of the products out there. How do we take it? It's in my cup of coffee that I'm drinking right now. Just a scoop of unflavored. It mixes great with hot. You got to stir it a little bit because, again, we're talking about a gelatinous material. People they want to pour a powder in something and then make it automatically dissolve. And like, I have to explain to people, you want us to process our product to that point where all that'll happen? I mean, we're trying to do it the right way, but you will have to stir it a little bit. And we have a couple of flavors, strawberry lemonade, chocolate, and vanilla. And all that it's the same product, but we add cocoa and stevia. We're not going to do any artificial sweetener. That just goes against everything that I believe. And, you know, I know that there's certain opinions on we'll call it natural sweeteners, the stevias, the monk fruits, the erythritols out there. But it's a lot easier to get your kid to take collagen when it's chocolate flavored and you mix it with milk than it is for them to drink chicken bone broth every night. So, you know, we're trying to meet people in the middle. And I personally love the strawberry lemonade. It's what I drink when I work out. So I'm not scared of stevia, and I think that it's great. But I respect the fact that a lot of people, they think anything that even mimics the sweet taste is bad. And like, I don't disagree. But at the same time, we're trying to make an approachable product that people can use however they want. So whether that's coffee, smoothie, mix it in a yogurt. I know people that drink our own flavored in just water, which I think is disgusting because it's going to taste like pond water because we're using fish and eggs. But you know, it's to each his own, right?
Well, somebody's asking about, can I ask about peptides? And I'm not sure about those collagen peptides. Maybe it's just semantics things that, peptide is just a couple of amino acids stuck together. You know, peptides make up proteins. I can't remember when you go from peptide to protein, you know, I can't remember, it's, you know, units of 3 or 4 called peptides. And then when you get beyond that, I know we can absorb, we have a di and tripeptide transporters in the gut. And so, you know, does the collagen that you guys have, is it in peptide form? Are they longer pieces of protein? Are they more intact proteins? Because my understanding is, you know, if I eat a piece of collagen, which is going to be many, many peptides thrown together, my body has to cleave those into smaller units, 2s and 3s, you know, dis and tripeptides. So is yours already in peptide form, or is it in the more whole, longer collagen chains?
Both. So we're using like a chicken bone broth concentrate that's going to have just collagen protein in the largest form. But then we're also using smaller peptides in some of the ingredients. So you're 1,000% correct, which of course you are, as a medical doctor. Peptide is just a couple amino acids thrown together, 2, 3, 4, something like that. But the difference between collagen And what I hit on a little bit earlier, and probably didn't do a great job explaining it, I'll try to do better right now, is that the peptide chain in collagen of proline, glycine, leucine, hydroxyproline, hydroxylysine, that is not found anywhere else. So that particular peptide chain, when the body sees it, it's going to go break it down to then go deliver to the rest of your body to go fix stuff. It tells the body, go fix connective tissue. Where when you're taking another protein or another food, a steak, a chicken, whatever, that's telling your body to do something different, because it might have, like you said, the 3% of red meat is collagen. Well, when you're taking 100% of collagen, it's a different pathway, it's a different process, it's a bigger process, more is going on. So that's really the argument of the collagen peptide chain. And to my knowledge, I'm not sure, but I don't think there is a whey protein or casein protein peptide chain. I think it's just their form of protein that the body sees, and it goes and starts a different process, where the collagen is more of one of rebirth, of connective tissue, recovery, rebuilding, and all of that. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, it does. Well, at least it does for me. I'm not sure if the question person, Brooke, got that satisfactory answer. I think she did. But let me ask you, do you know if there's any like isotope studies on collagen absorption? And like if you take, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll do tracer labeled compounds, and they'll tag a carbon or nitrogen, and they'll see where it goes. Have you seen any of that done with collagen peptides or anything like that up to this point?
I haven't, but this is the exact reason for questions like that we went and sourced, a Dr. Kate Shanahan, because we're in the business of educating people and finding out information and passing it along so that way they can understand it. Where I have no clue about studies like that and tests like that, but when you have somebody who's as smart as Dr. Kate, who's a Cornell trained biochemist and a primary care physician, that I could just call right now and ask that question, that shows you the authenticity of our company, that we're not just trying to sell you some powder that smells a little bit like fish and maybe helps with this. No, we're actually trying to help you on your health journey. So I know I didn't answer your question. I could have answered just a simple no, but that's why we have Dr. Kate on our team.
Yeah, and I've actually I talked to Kate not long ago. We had her on, and she's obviously someone that's been looking into nutrition for quite some while. It's quite knowledgeable as well. So that's that is a good resource, or she is a good resource for sure. What is have you guys seen any? This is a good question. I think many people struggle with taking bone broth due to histamine intolerance for some reason. Is that something that the supplement seems to avoid? Do you have any issues with histamine and issues with collagen, or hearing feedback on that?
Yeah, we have heard that feedback. I'm very familiar with it, and I've had multiple conversations with Dr. Kate and with the labs trying to figure that out. So since we use bone broth as an ingredient of our product, I would not recommend it to someone who has a histamine issue to bone broth. It's going to be far less of a reaction because we're a processed supplement and we're a powder form. So, but there's still probably going to be a reaction. And what that reaction is, it's going to be very subtle. It's going to be very light. It's nothing crazy. But we've heard that. I've heard it because I handle all the customer service issues that come up. And most of the time it's people complimenting, but that 2 or 3 every month that we get, one of those is usually someone who has a gut issue with our product, which is almost counterintuitive. You would be like, wait, this is a gut healing product. But usually that person has an issue with bone broth because of the histamines. And since that's 2 of our ingredients, I just tell them, listen, go buy Vital Proteins, or go buy something, go buy Bubs that's just bovine. It's just cow skin, and you'll probably be fine. And that's our duty to tell people the product to go buy if ours doesn't work.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I think I think people enjoy the honesty, and like I said, it's something that sometimes you hear people and they think their product cures everything in the world and nothing can go wrong, and everybody's just out to get them if it doesn't work or something like that. So it's at least to be honest about that. I don't know if we have somebody's asking, is it possible to get a discount for the members at MeatRx with your company? Is that something you guys would be willing to entertain at some point?
Absolutely. The beauty of being a small company and knowing everybody that does all of our IT is I can create a discount code in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to create it. It'll be called MeatRx. And what it'll do, our product is about $42-$43. It's $42.97. I'll make it a $7 discount because I love the number 7. And anytime somebody enters that, they'll get that percentage off. So it's that simple.
Yeah, we'll put it on our website so people have access to it. Not what I'll probably do is I'll have to do a little email just to kind of get that in there, because we've got some other product. We appreciate that. I'm sure the members will appreciate that. For those that want to do that, like you said, many of them, because they're eating so much meat, they may not use it as much, but some may, and some other people may see that. So that's thank you for doing that. Do you know do you guys have any other products in development that you're looking at beyond this? Is there some other thoughts on, what else do I do with collagen or some other avenue of interest?
Honestly, no. Because our fundamental belief as a company is that we shouldn't really need to supplement. Food is medicine. We had it right 10,000 years ago when Hippocrates, he gets the credit for saying that. Couldn't tell you who actually said it, but food is medicine. But the way that we eat today, it's more and more difficult, especially when you have kids, because kids, I mean, Ken Berry can do it, and I just can't. I can't get my 3 kids to eat nothing but meat. Birthday parties are so hard, and schools, just what we throw at our kids, it's almost criminal in my opinion. That's a whole nother topic, so I'll get off that totem pole. But yeah, use food as medicine is what we believe. So I have zero desire to make a whey protein or a casein or anything. We might make a multivitamin because people's diets are so terrible that they're not getting enough B12, they're not getting enough calcium, they're not getting enough of almost everything. So we're looking into a multivitamin, but that's it. We're CB Supplements Multi-Collagen. That's our name. That's our company. We're not trying to become Ancient Nutrition. We want to be the subject matter experts in the world on all things collagen. And we're building the team to do that. And I think that it would almost go against our principles, our mission, our core values, our everything to divert from that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, I think Kate's and Dr. Shanahan's in Florida. I guess you're in Florida. You guys, is it the whole company's, I guess, based in Florida? Is that right? Or do you source? Where do you source everything from?
Florida and Georgia. Our product is it's all here. All of our ingredients come from here. We have an NSF line. So we have 2 lines, NSF certified and non-NSF, because we want to service the retail community, but we also want to service the professional athlete. And to get an NSF certification on your product, it takes months, and it's just so much planning involved. So we would just run out of stock if all we had was an NSF certified. And really the difference between NSF certified product and our non-NSF certified product is nothing, but you have to pay for that certification because that's the system that we built. Probably get in trouble for saying that, but who cares? So anyway, our bovine collagen in the NSF comes from South America, which is funny because nobody in America, no bovine producer wants to abide by NSF standards, which is hysterical to me and also saddening in a critical way. But everything's here. Our team is Florida and Georgia. Our manufacturing is in Georgia, and I don't see that changing because we like providing opportunity and jobs for everybody here.
Yeah, and just for those that are unaware, the NSF certification, you talk about athletes, I guess it's certified to be free of contaminants that might cause you to fail a WADA drug test or something along those lines. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, there are certain leagues like Major League Baseball and the National Hockey League, their teams are not allowed to buy supplements that are not NSF certified, which puts a huge hole in a lot of teams' programs, because both supplements have zero desire to get that certification, because it is a crap ton of work and time, and it costs a lot of money too. But that's who we are. That's what we're going to do. We want to service that community. So we have that line.
Yeah, and just speaking of that, just before we go, and I've got just a couple of minutes before I have to run, but there are some professional teams that I guess that are utilizing this product now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've got a couple of teams in Major League Baseball. I don't know if I'm allowed to say which ones, so I'll say we have a couple right now. But we've got our chocolate and vanilla being certified right now, so we should have that by the summertime, which those couple of teams will turn into a lot of teams. Because they're all interested in that as well. So yeah, we're trying to make a splash in that professional athlete realm. And if anybody on the screen is a pro athlete, give me a call, and we'll see if we can figure it out, including yourself, Shawn. Although you don't need it, as we've already discussed.
Let me ask you, because and this is something intriguing me. You said the U.S. producers don't want to abide by the NSF rules for collagen. What would exclude them from being NSF certified in the way the typical U.S. cattle are handled, I suppose?
I couldn't tell you the exact reason. However, I can tell you that NSF standards are in a league of their own, and it's easier to do for a fish manufacturer and a chicken. I'm sure it has something to do with the size of the cow, because eggshells are pretty small too. It's just funny to me that all of our ingredients come from here except the cows for NSF, but not one. We've been searching for years to try to find a producer here that will follow the protocols and do all the paperwork for NSF, and just nobody does. And maybe it's a function of cost, because it's just more expensive to do business in this country than some others around the planet. That just is what it is. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But it is so interesting that the other three ingredients we use are able to be NSF standard, because it's the entire supply chain. It's not just us and our manufacturer. It's where we're buying every source of ingredient from, including the sweeteners, the natural flavors. Everything has to follow NSF standards. So that's why most companies don't do it, because you need a project manager just to see everything that's going on.
All right. Well, Troy, thank you very much. Quickly before we go, can you tell us how to find you if you're on social media, how to find the company, how to order that? I know there's people actually in the chat trying to order some of your product. They're concerned the code may not be active just yet, but tell us how to get a hold of you before you go.
Yeah, so it's 1:00 my time. I'm on the East Coast. By 1:05, the code will be available. So give me 5 minutes to do it. Our website, cbsupplements.com. That's also all of our handles on social at cbsupplements. If people want to reach out to me personally, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. CE Bales. My initials, Charles Edward Bales. My email is charlie@cbsupplements.com. I'd love to hear from people. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just search my name, and love to help out however I can.
Wonderful. Charlie, thank you very much. I wish you great success. And thanks for doing this. All right, guys, I got to run, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.